humans, how's it going? Susan Ruth here. Thanks for listening to another episode of Hey Human Podcast. This is episode 242, and for once, I got to do it in person because it's with one of my roommates, Kyle Lampi. He's great. He is a fitness coach. It's individualized fitness, concentrating on behavior, nutrition, and exercise programs. What's different about him is that he tailors it to the individual person, what their goals and priorities are, instead of doing an all-encompassing thing that so many fitness people do, or diet people do, or, lifestyle people do. So it was really fun to talk to him, especially in person. It's a new year, just around the corner in 24 hours. I am looking forward to kicking that 2020 in the butt and saying adios forever. All the prayers going up for 2021 to be fantastic. Now, this preamble is pre-recorded because I'm taking the week of Christmas to New Year's off. And so hopefully nothing crazy is going to happen in the week between Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. So if it has, again, as I've said in previous times when I've been away, that I didn't know, and apologies if something insane happened and I don't talk about it here. With all good faith, 2021 is going to come in with a beautiful bouquet of flowers and say I'm sorry and make up for all the crap that 2020 did to us. Anyway, back to Kyle. Really great guy. He does a lot of things. He's also a musician and a music producer. However, the concentration of this episode is solely on fitness, lifestyle, well-being, nutrition, all that kind of stuff. Really interesting. I very much enjoyed it, and he's delightful anyway. So, all right. In other news, social media, Hey Human Podcast can be found on Instagram and Facebook. My personal social media, Susan Ruthism, can be found Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Rate and review Hey Human on iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. On the HeyHumanPodcast.com website, you'll find a links page with information about all my guests and what we've talked about. And also on that website, you will find the merch store. And what better way to support your favorite podcast than to buying merch? So please do that. It helps support this free podcast, and there's really cute stuff on there. I do say so myself because I designed it all. If you want to know more about me and what I do outside of the podcast, go to susanruth.com. You can sign up for the mailing list there, and I only send out mailers about every quarter, and they're really fun. I try to keep them engaging and all that kind of stuff. So if you're into that kind of thing, definitely do that. If you are into music, go check out Susan Ruth, that's me, on iTunes. I've got 4 albums there. And that's what I got. Okay, let's get into this episode. Thank you for listening. Happy New Year. I wish all of you a safe, beautiful, wonderful, healthy, successful, all the good things New Year in 2021. I believe we have earned it, and it's time. So here's to that. I love you. Thank you for listening. Let's have a great 2021. I'm going to have really exciting guests and keep this momentum going. Y'all have been incredible. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for spreading the word and for being supportive. I could not ever truly express how thankful I am that you allow me to do this. So let's get into this. Here we go. Kyle Lampi, welcome to Hey Human.
Thank you.
You didn't have far to go.
But didn't have far to go. All the way from down the hall.
Yes, we are roommates.
We are roommates.
Along with your lovely girlfriend, Jessica.
Yes.
And so I'm excited because this is an interview in person, which I haven't been able to do in a really long time.
Because of COVID.
That's what they tell me. I think they're just saying things so that I don't get near them.
What if I give you COVID because of this interview?
Now? Oh my God. That would be crazy, considering we've been living together for a while now. And what if all of COVID was just some lie just to keep me away from people? What if it's like a Truman-esque thing?
Oh, The Truman Show. Great movie if you've never seen it, by the way.
It is a great movie. A classic, if you will.
A classic.
Yeah. Let's get to you. Kyle,
Sure.
where are you from?
I am originally from Las Vegas. I moved here 2 months ago from Nashville. So, from Vegas to Nashville, Nashville to LA. And I think, obviously, never say never, but I think I'm probably not ever going to drive across America again.
How come?
Well, I did it going from Vegas to Nashville. And then I did it again driving Jessica out here. And then I did it again driving myself out here. So...
did you go different ways every time?
No, it was the same. And I don't... People argue with me when I say this, but most of America looks the same.
A lot of it. I mean, in the middle, I would
like you've got Florida, that's different.
Yeah.
Okay. You've got like Maine, that feels different.
Sure.
So different. But then kind of everything in the middle, it's just like a lot of the same trees.
Flats, a lot of strip malls.
Yeah. So stick to the coast.
You have to get into the small towns, I think, when you're on road trips. And then you discover like a couple diners off the beaten path and things. Did you do any fun? No, you were just get here and...
I feel that scares me.
Why?
I just if you're in a car for a long periods of time and you're eating at places that you don't necessarily go to normally, that's a recipe for disaster, especially if you don't know where the closest bathroom is.
That's a good point. Yeah. That's why I wear Depends.
Yes,
ladies and gentlemen, this episode is brought to you by Depends. When you've got crap to do, you can count on them. Yeah,
that's good. I like that.
Thank you. Any hoosies. So you originally from Vegas. What was growing up like there?
Well, my mom's a stripper and my dad is a professional gambler. And they met one night at the club when my mom was doing what she does. I'm totally kidding. My mom is not a stripper.
I believed you.
I know. I'm a great liar.
Also, that's good work and it pays really well.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's my neighbor across the street. She was a stripper. She would leave at 6 at night, get home at 3.
Yeah.
She had a daughter, totally normal.
Made bank, probably.
Oh, yeah. She lived in our nice community and... Yeah. It's just a job. Else.
I feel like you could be that match made in heaven of gambler stripper because of your personality is very outgoing.
I mean, everyone...
Risk taker,
Yeah, I can dance really well. I can shake my hips.
Yeah, I've got $5 right here for you, buddy.
Ooh, yeah. Well,
let's see those moves.
Yes, no one wants it. Good thing this is a audio podcast only, because that would be your what is it? Your rating on iTunes? On Apple would go down exponentially. No, my dad was in the bar business, so he was around gambling. I mean, my mom was a teacher, a yoga instructor. She taught sex ed for a while. She did a lot of things.
She taught sex ed?
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. So
how is that with a mom? Was she really open with you to a point of embarrassment or?
No, it wasn't embarrassing. She was just honest. If I asked her things, she was just well, this is how it works. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. All right.
I was the kid at school who knew,
Did everybody come to you for the dirt?
No. I mean, I would correct them if I heard wrong. I'm okay, well, that's not going to happen because that's not how it works. And then they'd be like, oh, okay.
If I drink a Coca-Cola on a Monday, I can't get pregnant.
You could. Depends on what happens after.
Don't drink Coca-Cola, kids. Yeah, it's terrible
for
you. I have a theory about kids whose parents were open about sex and education that they didn't have sex as quickly as the kids who didn't get the information. Did you? When did you lose your virginity? How old were you?
I was 17 years old.
Yeah, so that's normal. That's a pretty normal, and not the 12-year-old, 13-year-old age.
No, and true. Honestly, growing up in Las Vegas, you're exposed to a lot really quick. They have billboards with half-naked girls on it, and there's drinking everywhere. So I don't know. Maybe I did.
Makes it less exciting,
right? I never went and got a fake ID because I didn't care. Because I was that
makes total sense.
I would go to bars with my dad all the time. Most restaurants have gambling in them in bars, but you just don't care.
Yeah, this is why I think all those things should be legalized.
Yeah,
sex work and drugs.
Yes.
If you want some drugs, I have some
right here.
I have
a whole list.
There's a lot in here. Well, that's interesting. Was it a fun childhood then?
My childhood was the best childhood anyone's ever had. And I'll fight anyone who says different.
Serious?
No, it was great. I mean, I I don't know. I had the perfect balance of getting everything that I could possibly want, because my parents worked really hard and got very lucky with, like, when I was coming up, my dad was just like crushing it. He had like a bunch of bars and restaurants that were really doing really good. This is back before the big economy collapse. So I just, like, I had everything I needed. I never worried about anything. Like, if I needed braces, I had them. If I needed like acne medication, I had it. If I wanted a dirt bike, I got it. But it was, my dad came from super hard work, and his thing was like, you can have whatever you want, but you're going to take care of it, or you're going to work for it. So, like, when I said, hey, Dad, I want to play guitar, he's like, I'll buy you a guitar, but you're going to take lessons and you're going to practice every day. And if you don't, then I'm not paying for lessons, and that's on you. So it was cool. I got the balance of being able to experience a lot of things, but also understanding that it just doesn't come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. Did you work in his restaurants and bars and things?
Oh, yeah. I started washing dishes when I was, like, illegally at 11. Child labor laws. Yeah, that was, like, my first job. Was cooking in his kitchen on the...
You are a good cook.
Oh, thank you.
You taught me how to cook my first steak.
I did.
It was exciting.
That's the thing. Cooking is not hard. You just take the things that you like to eat, and you basically just heat them up. And then there you go.
I was intimidated by meat, I'm going to say.
I get it.
Please, I don't eat it very often, and I've never cooked a steak in my life. So,
well, now you're a steak
I've cooked
master.
a roast lamb.
See, I've never done that.
I can teach you.
You have to teach me.
Really good lamb. Sorry to all the vegans, vegetarians out there. Cover your ears.
Tofurkey.
I had tofurkey once. I did not enjoy it. I didn't think it tasted very good.
Yeah.
What did you study in college?
I was a jazz guitar major for 2 years. You could either choose classical or jazz, and I didn't want to grow my fingernails out because I thought that was very strange, because you could tell that the people who played classical, they would have one hand that was super long, the other hand was normal, and I was like, that is not a good look for anyone. And then I figured too, and jazz you could play with a pick, and then I figured too, classical is very rigid, like they read music incredibly well, and it's all about the classics, and it's all about performance, whereas jazz is, with improvisation, is more open, and I was more drawn to the creative aspect of that, I guess. Not to say that classical music isn't creative, but I just figured if you can play jazz, you can play anything. And then I quickly learned that I'm not a jazz guitarist, and I cannot play anything, because people there were so amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I love guitar. I have a knack for it, but to be, I guess, a jazz musician, I mean, that's like you're devoting your whole life to that. And I was just like, I just kind of want to learn it and apply it to what I like.
Yeah. When did you leave Vegas?
In 2005.
Okay.
And then Nashville.
You went straight to Nashville? Mm-hmm. And all the years I lived in Nashville, and all the years you lived in Nashville, and Jessica as well, never met, y'all.
Never met.
That's wacky to me.
Yeah.
I feel like I knew everyone in Nashville.
I know. We probably know all the same people.
We know a lot of the same people, yeah, for sure. What did you do in Nashville?
Nashville, the reason I moved out there, I was in a band. We all moved together.
What was the band?
It was called, well, it's been through a lot. It was called A Beginner's Mind at first. It was like a rock and progressive kind of band. If you're a fan of the Mars Volta or Coheed and Cambria, it's pretty much who we ripped off constantly. And then when we got to Nashville, we realized that no one wants to listen to 15-minute songs, and we should probably start making pop music, and we wanted people to come to our shows. So we changed our band name to Enjoy the Zoo, and then we just started making like pop music for like 14-year-old girls.
How did that go?
Great. I mean, that was the most success we had. We got to do some really cool things and record in some of the coolest studios and open for some really awesome bands. But then ultimately, as most bands do, we realized, you know what? We tried. We did our thing. Let's see what else is out there.
Yeah.
And that's when I got into music production and fitness.
Let's jump into the fitness stuff.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's jump head first.
What did you study in fitness?
So I never had any formal training in fitness. I guess I shouldn't say that. I guess, people go to college for learning the body and how it moves, right? Like a sports medicine. Yeah. Sure. I never did that. I was more music. Honestly, I started fitness from shame.
Were you a fat child?
No.
I should say overweight. Is fat appropriate?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fat's a thing.
Overweight child? I don't know what's...
like PC to say?
Yeah, well, I just don't want to be insensitive to people that are bigger than not bigger.
I don't know. I can't say because I never experienced that. I'm sure maybe that is sensitive for some people, but I was not. I was very thin. Actually, I was just the opposite. So it was like, I think for a lot of men, especially because like how, I grew up looking only at X-Men characters and they're just like so
jacked,
but they're like, it's unrealistic, right? So when you're small, yeah, I know. No, I think that I was thinking about this the other day. I think that's the equivalent of like looking at a Cosmopolitan as a boy looking at like He-Man and being like, So I was always like small, but I'm very athletic, but I got a swirly once, which was like
shut the front door,
by the senior kids, and that stuck with me. And then
oh my god, that makes me want to throw up.
I know.
What'd you do?
Nothing. No, I just thought it was funny.
No, what did you do after the fact?
Oh well.
Did you throw up?
No, I did not. There was nothing in there. It was just regular toilet water. There wasn't like pee or anything. Good. That's like an assault. That's
next level.
Yeah, that's next level.
I think the first is also assault.
Yeah, I'm sure, but I did what I did best. I was like, I'm small. I can't fight back, so I'm just going to go get them in trouble. So I got them kicked off like the basketball team, and then everyone hated me because the basketball team was doing so well in our private Christian school. Like, who cares, So that stuck with me for a while, that feeling of being helpless. And then I started lifting weights because it was something to do, honestly, for fun. And then I started getting into it, and then I realized that I don't know, my dad's probably going to listen to this, but I'm going to tell him this. I've never told him this, but he knows, he's like my best friend. He's like my hero. Anything I've ever done in life is because of him. Like, he did karate his whole life, so I did karate. He, played sports or like hockey, so I played hockey, all those things. So I came home from when we moved to Nashville, and I came home and I had gained a little bit of weight because it was like our first time. I mean, like, you turn 21 in a house of 6 guys. What are you going to do?
There's some alcohol involved.
All you do is drink and eat fast food. So he was like, man, Kyle, you're gaining a little bit of weight. And I was just like, really? Oh. But inside I was like, oh my God.
Crushed.
I need to do something. Because he was always like the vision of like health to me, as my dad.
Did you have a sense of body before that, really? Or
no, my sense of body was always like, I was always told that I had a nice physique, or I was like, I looked strong or whatever. But I never cared about that. I didn't care at all. Like, I cared about music. But then that was like the first time that I was like, whoa, I'm not like what I thought I was, right? So then I went home and I started lifting weights, and then I got bored with that after a while, and I found CrossFit, and I got into CrossFit very heavily, like
people do.
I mean,
it becomes a bit cultish. The people I know that are CrossFit people.
When I say,
I don't mean that disrespectfully.
No, I get it, which makes sense because it is it's a reward system. Like, it's people are doing the same thing together at the same time, and people cheer each other on, and that feels good to be cheered on by your peers that have just done the same thing you're doing, and it hurts the same, and you can talk about how much it hurts, and you grow together and all this stuff. It's great. The community is great. I just I got really deep into it to the point where it was like I felt like how Jehovah's Witness must feel, going like door to door and trying to, like, I mean, Uber drivers. I would be taking an Uber and like a little old lady would be like, oh, my knees have been hurting or something. And I'm like, have you tried CrossFit? Which, I mean...
But I mean, anything can be a religion, right?
I mean, 100%. Like, I wasn't religious, but that was my religion. Like, CrossFit was my religion. And I got really deep into that. I got into... started coaching at our gym. I started trying to get as many CrossFit certifications as possible, trying to learn as much as I could about the CrossFit methodology and climbing up. They have different levels. They have an L1, they have an L2, they have an L3 and an L4 as a trainer that you can like learn more and more and more about. And it is very involved. But the guy who owned the gym that I worked at told me about a different kind of program that wasn't necessarily methodology, more of just like a education, and it's called OPEX, and I got deep into that because I enjoyed, I don't know, just a kind of a light bulb went on, like, you know, how sustainable is this type of training that CrossFit is, because it is very intense, right? And you always, when people talk about CrossFit, what are like the three things you hear about? Like, you're gonna hurt yourself, I can't do that, or those people are crazy, I could never do that. Well, there is a lot of injuries in CrossFit, and I've seen it, and I try to turn a blind eye to it, thinking that it's like, oh, that's just what happens when you work out hard. But I kind of realize that no, maybe that's just what happens when you're doing things that you're not ready to do yet.
Mm-hmm. And everybody is different.
100%. So
that little old lady's in there, you know.
Right. Blowing her other knee out. Yeah, right. Yeah. No, a CrossFit, everyone can do CrossFit. Not everyone should do CrossFit. There you go. It is for everyone, but not everyone should do it. Yeah,
my friends who I know who do CrossFit, they've all been injured in some way. Usually it's either a shoulder or a knee.
Yes, and that is because, like I said, the fun part about CrossFit is the competition aspect, and people are around you cheering you to do more and push more, and you want to, as a reward system, you want to like continue to get those kudos, so you continue to do more and push more, and you're not actually like listening to your body a lot of times. And yeah, that's kind of like, I guess, the stain on CrossFit. So when I started learning, I guess, more about like how the body works and different methodologies of training and servicing people and where they are currently, my mind kind of changed, my world kind of opened, like, hey, maybe it's not so black and white. Maybe it's not just about CrossFit. Maybe there's a lot of other things out there that you can really affect with people. And then I started getting more into, you know, what else is out there besides just working out? Like, there's other things that are important. That I really love how OPEX portrays the overall picture of health and sustainability.
Is this OPEX?
OPEX. Yeah. The founder actually won the first like CrossFit game, so he comes from a CrossFit background, so he understands it. It's basically a all-encompassing life thing. So it talks about sleep, it talks about stress management, it talks about getting enough sunshine, it talks about hydration and food hygiene and practices around digesting food and working out. It's not just the workout, which a lot of people, I feel, the workout is the end all be all, right? Like, I mean, how many times, you work out, how many times have you said to yourself, like, I need to work out today?
Many.
Right. And that's most people's feeling, and then that's great to be able to work out, but that's not the only thing you do, right?
So it's more whole body, whole life merging together.
Absolutely, because it's a fitness and longevity is a puzzle piece, and if you don't have all the pieces together, your puzzle's not complete, right?
I hear you talking about sunshine, for example, and sleep. Mm-hmm. Then you believe that those are very important things.
People ask me all the time, like, what should I be working on? And I tell them there's basically like three things in your life. You've got sleep, you've got what you eat, and you've got like how you move. And I always tell people this: if you never stepped foot in a gym ever again or ever lifted a weight, but your sleep was immaculate and you were eating incredible foods, you could live a very long life. You may not be as strong as you want to be. You may have some aches and pains. You may not be able to do certain things, but as far as not being in a casket early, you would be on the right path. Whereas focusing just on the workout and, pushing your body past certain limits and not being able to recover with sleep and not fueling your body correctly does a lot more damage than focusing on recovery. And that was a big eye-opener for me, because I was always in the school of thought that more is more, right? When it comes to working out, like, how hard can you push? How beat up can you feel? I didn't get a good workout unless like I was laying on the floor dying, And you know what? That's not anyone's fault. Like, I feel like the hardest part of being a fitness coach is having to deprogram everyone's thought of what it takes to be in fitness or to look good, quote unquote, because it's just a lot of junk science and incredible marketing. That it's like it's no one's fault that they go, oh well, I can just do this template program for like 8 week abs. You know, like those things drive me insane because it's like when I tell people that I'm a coach or a fitness coach, it almost like leaves a bad taste in my mouth. I almost don't even want to tell people because I'm a fitness coach just like every other person that starts an Instagram page and says fitness trainer and then just posts pictures of their butt or like them like doing push-ups. Like that's so annoying to me. It doesn't mean that what they're doing isn't helpful and it isn't valid, but it's like...
Great, now I have to go delete my Instagram.
Right. Like, delete. Like, put it this way. Okay. We're at a dinner with a bunch of people, and everyone goes around the table and says what they are, right? If someone says, oh, I'm a doctor, there's a preconceived path in your mind that they took, and there's a preconceived status of importance and reverence, like, oh, you're a doctor, that's amazing, and people just like believe you at face.
Will you look at this thing on my arm?
Yeah, right. Okay. I'm a therapist, great. I'm a dentist, I'm a whatever, you know. But for some reason when people, they don't hold a coach as high as that, you know. Like people have their dentist, they have their doctor, they have their physical therapist, but they don't have like a coach, you know. And that's like my biggest thing, and I feel like that's the hill I'm going to die on, is like I want to make a coach as important as your doctor, as important as your dentist, and all those things.
Well, with a good coach, I imagine you wouldn't need your doctor as much, right?
Right. So that's the other thing. It's like if your bone is sticking out of your leg, you need a doctor. But you don't necessarily need a doctor to tell you how to move, you know, how to sleep, how to manage stress, because doctors, like, that's not their job.
Well,
like,
and also they'll prescribe something. If I come to you and you're my doctor and say, I can't sleep, they'll say, oh, take this Ambien, not, why are you not sleeping?
Exactly. And that's another thing. It's like, I have clients that are like, well, my doctor told me I shouldn't be doing this. And then I always have to back them up and I go, well, did your doctor ask you why you're doing this? Or like what other things have led to you feeling this way? Like there's so many underlying factors for certain things that once those are all exhausted, yes, have surgery. Yes, take this medication. Yes, maybe go see this specialist. But let's try, like, you'd be amazed on maybe you don't need migraine medication. Maybe you just need to drink more water. Let's try that for a couple weeks. Let's see if your migraines go away.
Stop drinking Diet Coke or whatever it is.
Yeah, there's so much that can be done on a daily basis.
Don't you feel like people don't want to stop those things? So in their mind, they're like, oh, I want to fix this problem. But they don't want to deal with the root of the problem. They just want the placate. They want the Band-Aid for the bullet hole.
And that's just something you have to, that goes back to the deprogramming. It's like, can you blame people? We have this amazing piece of technology everyone has in their pockets that you can access the world. I can have groceries delivered. I can have, honestly, people delivered to my house, like with Tinder. Like, it's like there's nothing you can't have right now. Like the delayed gratification, I feel in past generations, they were very good at that. You know, you work hard, you eventually will get there. Now it's like instant. Yeah. So everyone wants everything instant. So can you blame them? Like what sounds more sexy? Yeah, take this fat burning pill, you know, whatever that you can get at GNC, and you'll be ripped in you'll be ripped in a month, and you just have to go to the gym like for 10 minutes a day. Or make sure your entire life is in order. Track your food, your sleep, your stress. Do resistance training and slow aerobic work, and work really hard every day, and you know, monitor your habits, and then we'll see how you feel in a month, as opposed to I can just take this pill and I'll be fine. Which I really beg people to think about the ramifications of things. If it feels like a quick fix, it's a quick fix for a certain problem that usually comes with 5 more. And then what's the quick fix of those 5, which comes with 5 more. So this is exponential, which is, you know.
What's the biggest habit you find that you have to help clients break? Bad habit, I should say, and create new habit.
So that's interesting because that's the methodology that I tried in my approach is really finding out what makes that person tick and what their why is in life. So with that, different habits kind of pop themselves out. Like, for instance, here's an avatar. A person that is very task-oriented and works a lot and doesn't know how to shut the computer off and can't not answer that email and doesn't have a very good work-life balance. Their habit usually is stress management and sleep, because they will sacrifice their sleep and be super stressed out because they've got these tasks that need to be done. Whereas another person might be super low stress and has a great work-life balance, but just doesn't drink water all day, you know? So it's very specific to the person, but I would have to say sleep is probably the biggest one. Because if you think about this, we used to live in caves, yeah? Caves are completely dark and they're cold. That's just fact. That's just like in our DNA. I don't know if people believe in like things being left over from generations, but I mean, it's in there. That's who we are. And we live in a society now where when the moon is out, there's also these mini moons everywhere. Street lights, car lights, your phone, your computer. Like in our room, honestly, like if we shut the lights off in our room, it might as well be daytime. I can look and see Jessica's face and we can have a conversation. So I wear a sleep mask because it has to be dark for you to sleep.
My friend Ellen swears by her sleep mask.
It's incredible. So you have this gland in your brain called the pineal gland, which looks like an acorn, they say, strangely enough. That's what is very sensitive to light, like your retina. Any light, even with your eyes closed in a dark room or a perceivably dark room, even if you, like, say you had your phone on a nightstand and it turned on, you can perceive that through your eye. That's how sensitive your eyes are, which is great because it's how we see things. But that confuses that gland to make melatonin, you know? So the darker it is, the more you're going to produce of that, the better and deeper you're going to sleep. Whereas if you're like looking at a screen at night, like your brain is going, hey, it's dark in here, but I can't tell if you want me to start making this chemical that makes you sleepy or not because we're seeing light. So can you give us like a signal that you're ready to go to sleep? You know? So I feel like sleep is a big thing because of technology and the way society is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sleep, I think, is a rare commodity for many.
Which is crazy because it is the most important thing that you can do in your life. And a lot of people are shocked by that. You know what? This blew my mind. So here we go.
Do it.
Here we go.
Bring it on, baby. Baby.
I listened to the Joe Rogan podcast. What a shocker. I know.
Yeah.
White
Single
male,
male.
right.
Well, sort of single.
Yeah. Not married white male. Listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. And he had a sleep expert on there one time, which was very informative and mind-blowing. But Joe Rogan is like, he's a fitness guy, right? He's he always talks about kettlebells and he always talks about, fighting and nutrition and stuff. But he was shocked at how important sleep was. And I'm just like, yeah, I mean.
Yeah. There's a town, I think it's in Italy. There's this whole town suffers this genetic hiccup. It's a very small town, obviously. Mm-hmm. And they don't sleep. And they're dying off because it will kill you.
I mean, that's one thing that sometimes I have to have serious based on the client and what I think they can or cannot handle. Sometimes you have to get super frank with people, and I just tell them, like, hey, it's fine. If you don't want to prioritize sleep, that's fine. Just know that you're going to die earlier than you want to. And that's just, if that's the price you're going to pay, like if you're working third shift or part of your job requires you to stay up all night in weird hours and you're not getting a lot of sleep, like we all have a price to pay for things. And if that's the price that you want to pay for that, that's literally your life and that's your choice. But that's just the hard fact. You're going to die early. And that's, sometimes that wakes people up. Sometimes it doesn't, but
so to speak.
Yeah. Right.
Boom.
Yeah.
What about food-wise? What do you think is the trickiest thing? And I really want to touch on the fact that, and we've talked about this before, that every body is truly different, and yet people en masse they flock like lemmings to a diet plan, or there's the Atkins, there's the dairy only, there's the cayenne, there's all these different things.
Carnivore diet where they only eat meat.
Right, and why that is so unhealthy, and the fact that we are all so different that it.
Yeah, so sleep is a big one. Food is a big one too. But for a different reason. Food, there is so much self-worth, and emotion attached to food because of, again, the society we live in, and marketing, and seeing magazines and Kate Hudson eats this way, you should too. Or you want to look like Brad Pitt from Fight Club? Well, here's his workout and diet regimen, I only use that term because honestly, like every male client I have, that's like the beacon of is Brad Pitt in Fight Club, which I don't disagree with. I mean, he looked great, but
he's also a very specific body type. He's 5'7". Although I'm sure they say that he's taller, but I don't think he's that tall. Which, it's easier to get fitter when you're shorter, isn't it? I've heard that before. That's probably wrong.
Again, yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. There's so much misinformation out there. And what's crazy, it is so simple. It really is so simple. But because it's so simple, it's maddening. Because I don't know how else to describe it. I'll try to I answer your question with food. But the biggest thing with food is most people, and I'm guilty of this too, walk around and blindly eat based on convenience and taste. Right. I mean, yes, food is one of life's most simple joys. Like think of your favorite meal you've ever had in your life and how much joy that brought you, right? That's incredible. Like, I think that's one of our body's amazing functions is our tongue, the taste of things and the memories that can be attached to that, and smells and all that stuff. But food is in if you want to boil it down to what's black and white, food is just fuel. That's all it is. And depending on the type of fuel you want to put in your body is going to depend on how your body works. And if you even want to go deeper than that, your brain is basically a giant computer that tells your body what to do. All functions, everything, this conversation we're having right now. Food is just basically information for your brain. You're feeding your brain every time you eat. And if you're not feeding your brain well, how do you expect your brain to tell, your heart to keep beating well, and to let's start digestion now, or let's move this muscle? So I think we've lost a connection to food that I think maybe a lot of older generations and ancestors had a connection to, So food is a huge one. Food is, but it's not the end all be all too. People think that this diet is the way to go and this diet's the way to go, and if you want to be this way, you have to eat this way. And just like you said, every single person is different. We all have genetic different makeups. Some of us have different allergies. Some of us handle fats better than others. Some of us handle proteins better than others. There's no blanket diet. And I feel like that's a great rule of thumb, is if anything is telling you that this is 100% the way it is and it should be, you should run.
That's true with everything in life.
Run.
Yeah.
Because everything is so nuanced and we're constantly changing.
How do you do that with your clients? Do you do blood tests, or do you just base it on what their past is? And
with food? So before we do anything, I have a hour-long conversation with people that I ask them a lot of questions about what they're doing here, why they want to be fit. I ask them questions around their daily energy habits, their daily food. Like for instance, I say, hey, run me through a day in your life. And they just tell me about a day. And through that conversation, a lot of times people don't even talk about when they eat. And then I'll say, hey, I noticed that you didn't tell me about when you eat food. And they go, oh yeah, well, for breakfast I'll have a granola bar, and then I don't really eat till after work until I get home. And then without them telling me, they basically told me how much food is not a thought in their mind, right? So it's little things like that kind of give me an idea of what their emotional connection is to food, where some people will go like step by step, like, okay, I have this many egg whites and then I have this much toast, but I'll scrape off like this much bread out of my toast so I can have this. And that lets me know that, hey, you know, their prescription for what they should eat is probably going to have to be a little more general because there's something going on there that they're so attached to like food.
Yeah,
so,
to me, a person like that sounds like an eating disorder.
Right, or is in that room that could be an eating disorder. Like they may not have one, but they're
eating disorder adjacent.
Yeah, they're a couple pushes away where if like they had a bad coach or someone telling them like, okay, cool, do that, but we're going to take away more calories, or like, I need you to watch this even more. You can really fuck people up like that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of noticing. It's a lot of like
intuitive.
Yeah, it's like being a soundboard. So I ask these people these questions and I just kind of sit back and I listen to what they're saying and then I reiterate what they're saying to them. And that's powerful for people because they hear, you know, you don't hear what you say a lot of times until someone says it back and you're like, oh, I guess I don't ever eat or think about that. So yeah, as far as food goes, it's as simple as I can say. If it doesn't rot, you don't want to eat it. And that's really it. Think about it. If
so Twinkies are out.
Oh my God, they're so out. Right, so out. But like broccoli, if you put that on the counter for a week, you're not going to be able to eat it. Bananas, we all know. Like you have a banana and then you turn around and it's brown.
Window, yeah.
Avocados are the worst.
Avocados are the worst.
Yeah.
But the best. I eat an avocado a day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, and that's great. That's a great source of healthy fats. But that's great for you. Right. Someone else may not be able to handle that much. I mean, everyone's like I
may not be able to handle that much. I have no idea, having never had food assess.
Right.
Yeah.
But within that, when I say it's super easy, so that's what I mean. Like, that's a blanket, super easy statement. If it doesn't rot, you don't want to eat it.
How did that change your relationship with food? Because you are a food prepper. The refrigerator is filled with many a Tupperware with all sorts of foods, from starches through proteins and all that, and vegetables. When you go to eat, do you still have that joy of taking in all that, or to you is it fuel, or is it both? Or?
So food to me, like it started out, it's been a journey, and that's my goal as a coach, is to kind of teach people this kind of same journey, basically to make people autonomous in their fitness and in their life, like where they don't need me anymore. So I want them to think of food as like I think of it. The reason why I prep it is because I found out that I know myself, that if I don't have food readily available when I'm hungry, I will go and get the most convenient thing, like most people do. So I like to prepare for myself, knowing myself. So I'll cook a bunch of different sources of protein and put it in a Tupperware. I'll get a bunch of vegetables. I'll get some healthy carbohydrates. And then with those, I can like mix and match meals. I look at food through being a fitness professional and understanding what food is for. When I think of food, I think of it just like I said before, it's fuel for my brain. So the joy I get out of eating food is knowing that, wow, what I'm giving myself right now, I'm going to be so ready for the day. Like, I'm going to be so creative. My mind's going to be on fire. I'm going to have all these ideas. I'm going to have all this energy to go move my body. I'm going to have all this energy to walk my dog and be there for my girlfriend when she wants to talk about things. And so that's what food is to me. That's where the joy is. The joy obviously is taste, but it's more about the function now. And that's kind of like what I want people to eventually get that relationship.
And I know it frustrates you when you hear people say, oh, I ate this, I'm so terrible, or
right,
that, you know, oh, I broke my this or that. Talk about that for a second, because I think a lot of people do that guilt associated with having a cheat day, quote unquote. I don't think you even like that word, right? I don't. Yeah. Right, because
there's the word cheating, it lets me think that you're like, there's a morality to it, like you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, but the other things that you were doing are what you should be doing. So you're a good little boy for eating well, and then on the weekends you could be bad. Like, or is it just, you know, how about you enjoy life? You know, do everything you possibly can do to be the healthiest, most mentally acute, kind person And then if you want to have a cookie, have a freaking cookie, but don't eat the whole jar of cookies.
Shit.
Yeah, right? And you know what? And if you do, tomorrow's another day. If you do, the next minute's another minute. Every second is a second to make a new decision. And you don't have to beat yourself up. You're not a bad person because you like fell off the wagon per se. It's all just about being conscious. Okay, we did that. I am now aware of what I need to do next. And to be honest, the more connected you get with how your body feels after you eat certain things, the less you want to eat the things that make you not feel as mentally acute and happy.
I mean, I think that is so on the nose because people have a tough time being in their bodies, period. Mm-hmm. And food is a very grounding substance.
Yeah.
And it is interesting, the things that we take in that make us feel heavy or sloth-like or guilty or all this stuff. And it almost forces us into our bodies. And if we don't have a good relationship with that, then the brain starts wiring out.
For sure. Yeah. Like think of someone who... It's like the perfect recipe for disaster. Think of someone who doesn't necessarily have the greatest self-esteem for whatever reason. They were, raised in an abusive household or told they were nothing, and, that turns to food as comfort, but that comfort food also makes their brain work at like half capacity and makes them feel worse. And then so what do? They eat more of that food.
It's like circle.
It's honestly like an abusive relationship.
Yeah, absolutely. I read when I was in college, I read an article that said that people who subscribe to the Cosmos and the not Carl Sagan's Cosmos, but Cosmos, the fashion, and things like Us Magazine and like all that stuff, that their self-esteem is much lower, and that if they can stop reading those types of magazines, that their self-esteem will go up. And I thought, well, I subscribe to about 1 billion of those. I'm a college girl. Yeah. I'm going to see what happens. Mm-hmm. So I quit all these different magazines, and I'll be damned. Within about a couple months, I stopped thinking so much about why I don't look like that supermodel or that famous person or it really, what we take in really affects us.
It matters. Oh, yeah. I would say the male version of that would be like Men's Health.
Yeah, Men's Health and
or like
Maxim.
Muscle. Yeah,
Maxim.
Yeah, for sure. They do that, but there you go. That's the junk science and the incredible marketing. They know your
industry.
Pain points.
Yeah.
They know how to touch you. Like, want a bigger chest? And every guy wants to have a big chest for some reason.
As do many women.
Right. I guess it's made up of different things. Guys want more muscle. I guess women want more fat on their chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, you're completely right. That's crazy.
That is an industry that begins from when we're quite small to tell us why there's something wrong with us.
Right.
And it makes billions of dollars to keep us in a state of, oh fuck, I'm not slim enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not manly enough, I don't have this big enough, all that stuff. It's all, but boy, it's hard to step out of that.
Mm-hmm. Which is a breeding ground for business in the quick crash diet supplement. Mm-hmm. They go hand in hand. I mean, open up a muscle magazine and look in the back. All you're going to see is creatine, proteins, like vein. Like they have supplements that make your veins pop out. You know what I mean? Like it's like, I get it that is a sport. Bodybuilding is a sport, and there are sport specific things. But then it goes back to my same thing I tell people. Really think about the price of admission to what you want to do.
Yeah. And the long-term.
And the long-term effects.
And also, you talk about life-work balance. It's difficult to maintain this perfection and not have it steal away all your other moments. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's a big thing with energy. That's another one of the, we call them the basic lifestyle guidelines, right? You have hydration, food, energy, sun exposure, daily movement, all those things. That energy, how you spend your energy is huge. Like you said, work-life balance. Again, another thing in our society that I feel like is just out of control.
And we don't get enough sunlight, period.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of people that I know that are vitamin D deficient that are taking supplement for that.
Mm-hmm. Which in this day and age with COVID, vitamin D is like the number one thing you should be concerned with because it is directly correlated to your immune health. So it's like, okay, we have a pandemic that's killing people. We have to have strong immune systems. Let's stay inside and not get sunshine. Which I get, we have to stay away from people. I just think it's strange that...
You can get outside and stay away from people, though.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, wear a mask, stay away from people, don't touch people. Great. Wash your hands. Fantastic. Where are the talks about how to strengthen your immune system? How come no one's talking about that? Which I think is crazy. Actually, I don't know who the gym is, and I wish I did know who it was. I would give them the biggest shout out ever because they are the only... They put a billboard up here in LA. I don't know who the gym is. God, I wish I could remember, but it said, boost your immune system. Ask us how. I was like, thank you. Someone please. Like, let's talk about, you know, it's kind of the whole, we just had this earlier in our discussion about the kind of the doctor mentality. What's the source, not the fix? Mm-hmm. What's the source?
Yeah, I took that to heart when you talked about that when we first met. So I did not do it yesterday. I never went outside. I did. I went outside and sat with the dog for about a half an hour just to get some sunshine in my eyeballs and all that. But I really took it to heart. I was like, oh, you know what? I know that sun damage is a thing and all that stuff, but I feel when I get a half an hour to an hour of sunshine a day, it makes a humongous difference for me personally. Yeah.
I mean, well, there's so many reasons for that. Number one, vitamin D is crucial, like I said, to digestion and immunity, and bone health. But it's also really crucial in hormone balance. And the only reason we feel things is because of hormones. So your happiness is directly correlated to having enough sunshine. And we talked about our retinas and how sensitive they are. That's the whole circadian rhythm thing, you know, like the rise in the moon, like, and the falling of the sun. I mean, we didn't have alarm clocks when we were living in as plains people. No, you woke up when the sun came out because your retina was like, oh, the sun's out. My brain's going to start making cortisol, which is going to wake me up. And then, oh, the sun's going down. My brain's going to start making melatonin so I can go to sleep.
And it is very pattern oriented. I wake up without fail, 8:30 a.m. It's 8:32. It's bizarre.
Depending on what I'm cooking.
Yeah, if you cook, sometimes I'm like, shit. What is that stinky stuff going on down there? I have super smeller, so me and Gus from Psych, which I'm watching right now and loving. It's an old show, but he's a super smeller.
Is he?
Yeah. My best friend Ellen just smiled real big at that because she loved Psych.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go, Ellen.
Yeah, that was for you. Let's talk poop.
Oh yeah, poop. That's one of my, I can't wait for this question in every one of my consultations because everything else has been super serious. Like, oh yeah, tell me about, you know, your life balance and all this stuff. And then with a straight face, I go, so, tell me about your poop. How many times did you poop? And everyone for a second is taken back because we don't talk about it for some reason. It's like poop is like shameful. Isn't that weird that no matter...
So are periods, right?
Right. And we talk about that too with my female clients because that 100% affects your training and how you're going to absorb food and your mood and all that stuff. I'm sorry, I'm just slapping next to the microphone. People are like, what the hell is that? But yeah, poop is your poop and your pee, but mostly your poop. Your poop is like the most incredible free source to give you an idea of what's going on inside your body. If you're stressed, your poop is going to be different. If you're not drinking enough water, your poop is going to be different. If you're not absorbing enough food, you're absorbing your food well, your poop's going to be different. So it's interesting. So people listening, next time you poop, look at it.
My dad, when we were little, if we were sick, that would be what he would do. He would come and look at our poop, which I think a lot of Eastern cultures, that's a big thing, right? To be able to determine health. And my dad said to me once, he said, Susan, there's two types of people in the world, those who look at their poop and those who don't. I'm a poop looker. Yeah. For sure. I eyeball and I'm like, okay, things are good.
It's looking good. I mean, I don't need you to like pick it out of the toilet and inspect it. Like that's insane.
But you can, size, color, consistency.
Smell.
Smell is a big one. Yeah.
It's huge. So poop is
Although sometimes vitamins can really...
Yeah, they can. And if you do eat a lot of beets, remember that you are not dying of colon cancer probably. It's just the beets. Because I've had a couple scares. I'm like, what is it?
There's a great Portlandia episode
Is there?
about that.
Oh, I need to watch that.
Hilarious.
The only Portlandia episode I've ever seen is the one where they're like asking about the chicken. Like, what was his name?
Yeah.
That was really funny.
Yeah. I'll send you a link. I'll put it on the Hey Human Podcast links page too. It's a really funny episode.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so poop. Look at it. It's great.
Yeah, traveling is a bear because you can eat all the same foods, drink all the same amount of water, and not poop for a couple days.
Yeah, I wonder, you know what? Honestly, I've thought about that. I'm like, nothing's different. I think it may be a stress thing, maybe. Your body like kind of shuts down unnecessary actions because it's in a state of stress. And I wonder how deep that goes into, people are going to think I'm like some paleontologist or something, but I wonder how deep that goes into when we were hunters and gatherers and constantly moving, like, hey, we got to be on the move.
And yeah, if you stop to squat,
you get killed.
Yeah, something could kill you.
Tiger.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's not a crazy theory. I used to think it was solely dehydration, but then I was like, no, when I travel, I drink a ton of water. Yeah. So it's not that.
The same.
Yeah.
I shut down too. Well, that's what's so cool about our bodies is that we're so resilient. Like, think about, I mean, we've all heard or know that old person who is like smoked their whole life, has like their drink like a fish, and they're
George Burns, baby,
well into their 90s, and they look like they're great. Or you have like my biological father died when he was 33 from throat cancer. He drank and he smoked. 33. I'm 3 years older than him. I can't imagine being dead right now. Like, that's crazy. I mean, can anyone really imagine?
I mean, I do a lot.
Yeah.
You being dead, I mean.
Yeah. Ah, yes. If I go missing, should I give our address? No. This is where my body is. Yeah, it's our bodies are so resilient. So our body, our only function is to, hey, we got to keep this person alive. They're doing something or a bunch of things that is not necessarily helpful for us, so we're going to start shutting down things that aren't as important like pooping or peeing, because
and pee is a good hydration model, right?
Yeah, and that's a good one. A lot of people think your pee should be clear. That actually might be a sign that you're overhydrated. Your pee should be more like a very light lemonade. Because that lets me know that you're...
Milk lemonade.
Right. Yeah. That's right. And around the corner, fudge is made.
That's right.
Hopefully it's a nice, smooth snake shape.
Boy.
Yeah.
We're really getting into it.
Yeah, hey.
It's not always that, though. It depends on... Does that depend on the person, too? The segmented versus one long?
The poop?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, again, it's like, it all depends. That's the answer I wish everyone would say when it comes to fitness. It depends. Because it does depend. But... for the most part, if you are chewing your food enough and absorbing the nutrients and staying as hydrated as you need to, and low stress, your poop should be a smooth snake. It doesn't have to be connected, but it should be smooth instead of like cracks.
Or rabbit pellets.
Rabbit pellets is not good. Or water.
Yeah.
Yeah. Water's never good.
I feel like for women, though, depending on where they are in their cycle,
huge
when it comes to poop, all bets are off, because it could be anything. I
mean, your body is like shedding itself.
Yeah, things get pretty wackadoodle.
You guys are like spiders. Is that what I call them, black widows?
Women are black widows. Wait. Yeah. Men are like spiders? How so?
No, you.
Oh, we're like spiders. Shedding, or snakes, or...
Yeah.
Sure. I'll take all that.
Yeah.
Really quickly, did you say your biological dad is not your...
Oh, no,
Did I know that?
I don't know. No, so my biological father, I mean, he was never in my life because he was an alcoholic, so my mom met who is my dad who raised me when I was like 1.5. So I've never known anything else.
Got it.
It wasn't like a sad story where it was like I was in foster care and this man came and took me.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted, because you said that, I was like, wait,
didn't you just say your dad's life? Is Kyle a compulsive liar?
No, I was like, I just didn't know that about you.
Yeah.
Getting to know you.
Actually,
yes.
That is also...
Cut off my song, you
so
motherfucker.
Sorry. Well, I mean, who really wants to hear that? That actually might be another reason why I am so passionate about fitness, because I saw the person, even though I may not have known him, I'm half of him, You know, I'm sure that affects me somehow,
Sure.
like watching him die at such a young age. That might have something to do with it.
Do you have a memory of it?
Him dying? Yeah, I was 12. I remember.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you said you were one in... Oh,
Well,
your mother
left
got
him,
it.
but like he was like around, you know,
Right,
like
following
he would when he wasn't drunk, he would come see me and then just like take me to Toys R Us and like buy me whatever I wanted. That was his way of showing love, which, I mean, I got some cool stuff from, I guess, but you know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
always interesting.
Yeah.
We don't get to choose our parents.
No.
Except for my belief system, we do. But we do that long before we come into this world.
Interesting.
Because I'm a woo hippie girl
I like that.
believes in reincarnation. But moving on. Let's talk women for
Let's
a
do
second. What's
Love them.
I know. What's some good... I feel like women get lumped in fitness to just go do your aerobics, lift some light weights.
I know.
Don't work out during your period because eat extra iron during your period. Blah blah blah. So let's put a finer point on it.
Sure. Women are men pretty much, and men are women pretty much. Like, we are really close because we are the same species. I mean, we have different bone structure and different hormones, but like, because I have a penis, why should I be like deadlifting and doing all these like super absolute strength gaining movements, and why should a woman, just because she doesn't have a penis, walk on a treadmill? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's like, we're both human. We both basically have the same functions. Yes, we have like different things that make us different, but like, we should all be trying to be as resilient as we possibly can and healthy as we possibly can. And there's no reason why a woman shouldn't be strong. And I know that, again, that goes back to what you guys are sold at a young age. Like, women are supposed to be quiet and frail and slender and something to behold and look at. And no one wants to look at a woman who's strong and who can, like, lift a bunch of weight. I honestly, and Jessica is probably going to kill me for this. I love you so much. But I'm going to say it anyways. Probably going to regret this, but she is very athletic, and her whole life...
She's strong, that girl.
But just because she's short. She's short and compact and strong. She's very strong. But her whole life, people have asked her if she's a gymnast. And she used to take offense to that back when she was young, because when she was young, the hot girls were the skinny ones, and she always wanted to she didn't want to be compared to a gymnast. And when she told me that, I was like, that's insane, because to me, I think seeing a woman who is strong and confident in her body and is experiencing her body through movement, I think there's nothing sexier than that. I think gymnasts have some of the best looking physiques in the world. I really do. Maybe that, I always go to disaster situations, but like, if I'm going to try to survive, I want to survive with someone that can also lift themselves up a wall, so I don't have to constantly be like lifting them up. Like, I gotta do stuff too,
Yeah.
I think that's great. I think it's no secret that women suffer from osteoporosis more than men do, because
they're not using weights and things. Yeah,
exactly. And that's one of the biggest benefits of weight training is that resilience of strengthening your bone density. I think it's crazy. I think everyone should lift weights. I
feel so much better when I am in, because I'll slough off the gym or whatever, but when I am weight training, it makes me feel like, ooh, I'm so in my body.
Right, you can feel everything.
Yeah. And I love that.
Yeah, and it's I feel like it's human nature we need challenges. I think if people don't challenge themselves, that's when they go crazy. And I think we're seeing that a lot with this pandemic and having to be at home and not it's a different type of challenge, right? But I'm talking about physical challenges. I feel like humans, we have a daily energy requirement, and I feel like if you don't spend that energy, it balls up inside of you. And I feel like that's where I feel it. I get cranky. If I don't go to the gym myself. Like when we were moving out here, there was days when I was going to the gym, and I was not exactly the funnest person to be around by the time we got here. Jessica was like, man, you are like a hair trigger. And I was like, I know, I need to move. I mean, Einstein, Tesla, they had their greatest ideas on their walks. They would walk in silence and ideas would come to them, and there's no secret that our brains are activated by movement. That's what makes us incredible. Humans are so inventive, but I feel like we have to move to be inventive.
And put your phone down. I gotta say, when I go on my walks, the different experience I have, during this pandemic, this is one thing I have learned is to try and ignore the phone, because it's just that doom scrolling feeling.
Oh my God.
And stepping away from that and going out and doing stuff without that distraction, it changes everything. It really, again, it puts you in your body. You're feeling stuff. You're seeing colors. You're seeing patterns.
Your mind goes.
Yeah. I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir here, but I'm a big fan of leaving the phone behind when you do that stuff.
We're supposed to be bored.
Yeah.
That's where ideas come from. If you're scrolling, you're never bored because there's something to look at.
That's right. And it also is creating a false sort of addiction, weird cocaine response.
I've had to put I have a problem with that. I have to put a time limit on my social media for my phone. You can do that in your settings. Like, I've set 1 hour a day for social media, and once that hour goes away, they shut down, and I just can't do it.
Interesting. I didn't know you had that ability. You teach me so much about phones.
Yeah, no, it's awesome, and you can set whatever you want, and it can be just certain apps or other apps. But I've just done all social media. Like,
Kyle taught me that you can make your phone talk to you when it's dying or it needs to be. That was fun.
Yes, I learned that from social media.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about the dirty word in fitness, fat.
Okay, sure.
I saw a tweet the other day, speaking of social media, from Roxanne Gay, who is a great writer. She is, I follow her on Twitter. She's awesome. Sometimes she's a cranky pants, but I love that about her. I've read all of her books, essays, I should say. And she tweeted yet again at the doctor's office, and the look of shock on my doctor's face with the fat, because she's a big woman. Well, you know, the fat girl has good cholesterol and doesn't have high blood pressure and all that stuff. And I thought about that, especially knowing that we were going to be talking. And there is such a belief that if a person is a bigger person, that then automatically all these things must be wrong with them, and that's also not true. So
you're absolutely correct, and that's the great thing about being a human.
Yeah. Is
everyone is so different, right? But I will venture to say that her blood work and everything may be okay, but the wear and tear on her joints is not going to be okay.
That's yeah, but she brought up a good point, I think, that, and then the idea that, for example, what used to be considered a small, medium, large has shifted over time, you know, and that people consider a size 10 to be overweight is maddening, really.
Yeah, because a size 10 looks different on everyone.
Absolutely. I'm 6'1".
Yeah.
And sometimes I wear size 10 in pants, and sometimes I wear size 8 in pants. Never have I ever gotten into a 2 or a 4, thank you very much. But in dresses, I'm a 2'4". So it's frustrating because it's weird and it makes no sense and there's no rhyme or reason. So, and I know so many women that after a day going shopping for clothes are just defeated. So how do you deal with the psyche of a woman who spent her whole life being told, no matter what she looks like, that it's not good enough? How do you approach that in a client?
Yeah, we definitely talk about, so my favorite thing to do is, and this is a great thing listeners can do, is anytime you're experiencing an emotion or something you want or something, you ask yourself why 5 times, and you usually get to the root of it. So, like,
for example,
I'll do it for myself. I'll do it right now. Why do I like fitness? Well, I like fitness because it helps me feel good and it helps me look good. Okay, well, what does looking good mean? Okay, I think looking good means having muscle mass and having a low body fat percentage. Okay, so what about that do you like? Well, it makes me feel like I look strong and I look capable. So why do you want to look strong, look capable? Well, because I feel as a man, you have to be able to protect the ones you love and be resilient. Well, why do you think that? Well, because I know what it's like to feel weak and helpless and the beta. Okay, well, there you go. You know, it's like you can get so deep with asking yourself why over and over again. And a lot of people never ask themselves why or stop before it gets painful. Mm-hmm. And so what I do is I ask them why. Like, a lot of females come to me with a certain number, like a number they used to be in high school, per se, or a certain, they want to get down to be able to fit in their wedding dress again or whatever. And I ask them why. And then it usually comes back to a time in their life when they were the most happy. And I said, oh, so it's not a number you're looking for, it's a feeling you're looking for. It could be any number. You just want to be healthy and happy. And then when we set that intention, it's amazing how different their mindset is towards food and lifting weights. Again, a big thing for females is they think if they do one bench press, they're going to lose their boobs and be super bulky. You know, like hey, it's going to take you hundreds of thousands of reps for you to even get close to looking like a man. I promise you. And I can also guarantee you that you're definitely not eating enough to look like a man, and you don't even have the chemical makeup to even get that bulky without some assistance from drugs. So you have nothing to worry about. Mm-hmm. And when we set that intention from the number, like I said, to a feeling or really understanding why they want that, it's amazing how it opens up to like, oh, okay, I don't care about the scale then. I don't care about the number anymore.
So how often with your clients, when they come to you, let's say I'm a new client, I come to you, I say, Kyle, help me. Mm-hmm. Here, I'm going to pay you a monthly fee, and you're going to now be my guy. Mm-hmm. What will I get for that experience?
For that experience?
Yeah.
Well, so you're going to get, number one, honestly, to boil it down and not to cheapen it, you get a relationship. I think a relationship with your coach is the most important thing, because in that relationship, they understand those things that make you tick, right? And I know how to weave through the things to get, like, the goal is always in line, and everything that we need to move around that I know you can move around to get to that goal is through that relationship. But what I would say to someone like you in that month is you get behavior, nutrition, and exercise that is tailored specifically to your priorities in life, what you want out of life, how you currently move and function, and where you want to go with all of that. And you know, like, for example, here's a good example. If you want to make it to the CrossFit Games on ESPN, your workout and your eating regimen and your recovery regimen is going to look a lot different than a lady who just likes to hike on the weekends with her dog and wants to just feel good in her own skin. Completely different.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of where the magic of the coaching comes in, is constantly, as you change, the prescriptions change, the workouts change, as you get stronger, as you grow, as you different times of the month, you're going to need different types of calories. You're going to need all that. So you get it's almost like I'm in your pocket. Beep, just like telling you, okay, that's what we're doing next.
Yeah, and you use apps to help them with exercise programs and things like that.
Oh yeah, it's all done through an app called True Coach, which you wake up and it's like, hey, here's your thing for the day. And usually I start with a behavior, like, say we're working on sleep. Like, hey, tell me how you slept. And then you say, if I didn't, you say, oh, I slept great. And I'll comment back and be like, great. Or if you say, oh, I slept like crap, I was kind of tossing and turning, I'll ask you why. And then you'll probably say, I had water before bed, so I had to go pee. And I'm like, okay, so for tomorrow, let's stop drinking liquids 2 hours before bed. See how that goes. And then after your behavior piece will be, maybe we're working on some nutrition thing, and then your workout, like, hey, this is what you're going to do for the day. And
you can do this distance. So yeah, because I've seen you do Zooms and things like that, and you do all sorts of communication, all sorts of ways.
Most of my clients are remote because I got them all in Nashville.
Sure.
So I still have them here. I only have a couple here that are like in-person. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they can all be done. Mm-hmm.
What if I'm a person that comes to you and says, Kyle, I really want to get in shape. I don't sleep great. I am a move. I'm a CEO, and I'm constantly going. I don't want, that's never going to change. That's just who I am. Mm-hmm. Are you able to accommodate to something? I mean, they're not Yeah.
Yeah, I would just ask them, okay, well, number one, there's so many things. What does in shape mean to you? Because that's different for everyone.
Sure.
Then I would ask you, why? Why? Of course, we just did that. And then I would ask you, okay, what is the most time you can have to dedicate to this per week? And then it's my job to figure out how I can maximize the time you've given me to push you towards your goals. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to say, hey, okay, if you can give me 2 days a week where you can concentrate on moving your body, and you have a goal of having abs by summer to go to Cabo with your boys, well, you're not going to have abs, but you will be in a better place and on the path to that, because this is the only time you're giving me, and this is the only time you can contribute to it. I'm just like, that's another hill I'll die on. I will never lie to someone about, like, there's been plenty of times where people go, hey, I want to learn, like, Olympic lifting, right? And I'll just have to tell them, hey, you can't do a body-weighted squat correctly, so there's no way I'm going to load you with a barbell and tell you to do a movement that people are chosen as children to do their whole lives to possibly get into the Olympics. So those kind of things. Like, sometimes you have to get real with people, but not in a mean way. It's just education.
Sure.
Again, it's not their fault. They don't know.
Yeah. How can people find you?
I am currently working on my website, but I'm on Instagram, social media, at Lampi, L-A-M, like Mary or any other M word you can think of, P-I, so like lamp with an I at the end of it, fitness. And if you don't know how to spell fitness, we have a lot more to talk about. Lampi Fitness, that's it. And then I post daily, like, fun little snips and reminders of health stuff that you can do without a coach that you can work on. So it's kind of like free education, I guess, into what makes fitness.
That's awesome.
Life. Yeah.
Kyle, thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is really fun, and I think we're all doing the best we can, and it's nice to know there's people out there that can help us reach goals. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go make some stinky food.
You are?
Yeah.
Put the fan on, for God's sakes, man. You're killing me.
I will.
My super nose can't take it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
Rate and review Hey Human on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast. Thanks. Bye. Happy New Year.